Do any other guys sit down to pee when using the bathroom? At home, I'd say it's about 50-50, but at work, I usually stand up to poop and sit down to pee. I just asked a similar question. I pee sitting down to check my phone. It depends if this is a take a break pee or I can't spare an extra second. I always sit urine comes out like a broken sprinkler, so I can't aim, no matter how I is the only solution. Sometimes there are times I need a dump and both. At the same time as men apparently prefer sitting empties more of my bladder than a sit-down pee. The older you get, the more sense it makes. Genital piercings and mods mean sitting is the least messy way to pee. 100 at home. When I'm feeling lazy. Only if I think I might shit too. Depends if I'm feeling lazy at the moment. Sometimes I just want to sit down and close my eyes. Only when then the one-eye snake can't be calmed. My husband sits 96 of the time. When I am in the mood for it, sure. Yes, but I'm not one of them. Every time it is convenient and clean. Every 6 days this come up. Better for prostate. Yes, only because I am on my feet all day and enjoy a chance to sit down. In 50 years, old people will be much better at tech than young people instead of the other way around. I think we are kin to seeing this right now. No. I'm 28, my 10-year-old nephew doesn't even know how to plug in a gaming system. Ma, if I could do that shit with my eyes closed at 7, I don't see how. The issue with technology is that it's constantly evolving, so the things we are good at now may seem like ancient tech to kids 50 years from now. I'm a boomer. This is pretty well what some of us said 50 years ago. Note, I said some of us. Most of us just lauded at people who were being so silly. That's already the case in a lot of situations. I was absolutely floored when I found out that most of my staff in their early March 13th, 2024 aren't actually that good with basic things on computers. Teacher here. My students are very adept at finding ways around the filters we put on the internet so they can't play games or access chat or whatever. But they're completely inept at a lot of very basic shit like typing in home position or formatting a Google Doc. I think there are people in every generation who understand tech of their time, and also those that don't. Do not speak the ancient words to me. I was there when the tomes were written. What moment in your life made you said, "Yep, I am dead," and you survived without major injuries? My brother and I were driving to high school in the morning and hit a patch of ice on the road. We slid into 6 lanes of traffic, no stopping. We miraculously made it across without hitting, both looked at each other and were like we were supposed to die. Well, it's cancer. When I was younger, I took a ballistic snowmobile straight to the noggin. Instead of smashing my head, like a melon as it should have, it just left a small dent in my skull. Due to that incident, I learned I have some kind of genetic condition that makes my bones super strong. Walked out into the road without looking and got the full headlight beams really puts the flash before you die into reality. My first wet dreamy assume my kidneys are shot, but I didn't want to tell Mum and make her sad. I patiently awaited my death. I tried my best to enjoy the following days. He didn't. I have porn addiction now. Once I was run over by a car. They passed over my legs. It could have been my chest or my head, but I was lucky I stood up right after and picked up my trainer. That was 3 m away. Then I fell off. He ended up with a strained back pain where the car hit initially and walking with crutches for a bit over a month, but I recovered with no major consequences. What is something people would never in a million years guess just by looking at you? That I have a job, apparently. That I'm fluent in Spanish. People tell me I look white or Middle Eastern. I am a twin. My twin brother died when he was 9 hours old. That I don't smoke, drink, do any type of drugs, date, have sex, or have high anxiety. I wear a chastity belt under my clothes, and I don't have the key. that I am a psychopath with antisocial personality disorder. People think I'm a happy-go-lucky people person, and they have no idea that I manipulate all of them to believe that when inside I am truly the opposite, that I was once a woman. I'm visually impaired, that I can't see their face when I'm looking at them, that I'm very intelligent and have crippling anxiety. I have crippling depression. I'm extroverted and addicted to working. Biggest hobbies are dnd that I'm an opera singer's a skinny teenage girl with a low talking voice. So people always think that I'm joking. I look like I come from money, but it's because I sew all of my clothes and use couture fabrics. I definitely don't come from money. I won a fairly large wrestling tournament. I'm not jacked or an arm wrestler. I can down a pint with no hands. I've been a metalhead for most of my life. What's a false stereotype about the us? That most people walk about with a gun strapped on them. That you're in danger of finding yourself in a mass shooting. That there's guns everywhere. It's very rare I see someone with a gun on their hip in public. That everyone only speaks English. About a quarter of Americans are bilingual. That we're all really fat. That there are fast food places every street. Express Original S keeping it real. A lot of people think that there's no nature left in the US because it's so industrialized. We're stupid. Not every American is stupid. We try to learn about the world. That if you aren't rich, you must be lazy. It's always controlled propaganda. Land of the free and home of the brave. Everyone is rich and happy. That we are all rude and loud. That we are all raging guns owners wanting to kill, kill, kill. We all adore Trump. I'd be really surprised if someone commented we do here on Reddit unironically. No matter what a person orders, a bag of McDonald's always smells the same. I rarely get fast food, but when I smell it, as long as it's warm, of course. As someone who only orders breakfast, this is absolutely not true. A Big Mac bag smells way differently than a sausage McMuffin and hash browns. God, I hate that I have the inability to smell, and you can't get the smell off in the shower either. Alleged shower thought. Ha, try ordering 100 apple pies and get back to me with that. Just grease is all I smell. It's because you're smelling whatever flavorings are added to the food to make it actually taste like food. Yep, they're typically kept near the burgers that are ready to be bagged. Cute, but no. Burgers, fries, and nuggets smell totally different. Well, that's the magic of McDonald's special blend of scents. But when it's chicken nuggets, it smells extra good. Not only that the crispy chicken tastes like the color of the container it comes in. I've picked up so many Mc orders doing delivery driving, and they always smell exactly the same. Even if it was just drinks, desserts, it still has that faint smell on the bag itself. That's because shit has a very distinct odor. Smells like pussy after she runs 5 miles. What's that everyone thinks is awesome but you think is overrated? The show Friends. Not bad but not good. When they have random commas. Breathing air. Multiplayer gaming. I get why it's popular. It's just not my cup of tea. Chick-fil-A. Never cared for it. Never understood the lines constantly being wrapped around the building. Taylor Swift. In-N-Out Burger. It's set in an old Pools home, and his character Graham, he shouts, literally shouts, what everyone is thinking, like you're only here to cause she's dying or you're only after the bungalow. Incomplete sentences. Dining out. Can't wear pajamas, cold restaurant, surrounded by strangers. You gotta sit there and wait for your food. Food rarely meets expectations. Gotta wait for the check. Then drive home looking forward to getting into pajamas. Halloumi fries, they're just bland nothingness. Saying I know right. Also most repetitive food trends like throwing as much stuff on a burger as possible until it's inedible. Reality shows. Keo products, and I've just literally switched one off. New Orleans shrimp between stale white bread with some lettuce and tomatoes. Ugh. Graham by Ricky Gervais is good. Anyone seen it? Alcohol. What does tradespeople do once their bodies quit on them as they age but before they can retire? Pills. Lots and lots of pills. Supervise. My brain quit on me before my body, and in anticipation of the quitting I went back to school and got my teaching credentials. Now I teach English. Form their own company and hire guys from Home Depot. You move up the ladder in your field and do more paperwork rather than legwork. I'm about halfway through the process myself. I'm out of the being paid for my labor to being paid for my knowledge. Some try to change careers, some go for disability, train, educate, sales, management. They die young as my family members did once they were used up. Good leaders will offer them office positions. Especially good leaders will allow them to take office positions after a serious injury, whether they are old or not. My dad retired and started drawing on his pension early 53 instead of 65 and formed his own handyman company where he's been more successful over the years than he was working in the trades. Millennials are the generation that taught both their parents and their kids how to use computers. Funny, I think us Jing may disagree with you. Not true. Gen X is forgotten again. Lol. Millennials are the first generation to be completely reliant on computers for their entire life. Just because we had to start by learning DOS before Macintosh and Windows and had no internet doesn't mean we couldn't waste hours playing Scorch. I think some boomers laugh at this. I have been into tech since Tandy and T were a big name. Helped with the ARPANET before most of you were born. Added pops all over the Southeast. Lol. So cute. I bet you taught them on one of the Apple IDs or Commodore computer systems. Man, those cassette tapes were a bear, I bet. Millennials apparently are delusional. The parents that designed the hardware and wrote the software for said, "Don't think so, snot-nosed punk." Gen X, not millennials. We trained him wrong as a joke. Neither of them were by choice, lol. Apple I came out in 76. No. Generation X. We even wrote the back end for the things if an imp bomb went off and wiped out all of the back end. What's a fact or saying that gets repeated constantly on Reddit that just isn't true? People who act it's a sin to comment on an old thread. There's no point in having 10,000 threads about the same topic, and sometimes mega threads aren't available. People misusing cognitive dissonance constantly. No, it doesn't mean being a hypocrite or having two contradicting ideas thoughts. It specifically means the discomfort that comes from trying to reconcile those incompatible thoughts. Did you know the charity donation request at shops gives them a tax break seems to be repeated a lot? I see people say low-fat stuff just has more sugar all the time, and lately I've started checking labels on low-fat stuff, and it just doesn't seem to be true for most things. I remember seeing a comment from someone on Reddit where they said this was more of a thing back in the March 13th, 2024, hence why people believe it. This is a mental health issue. I can't stand that shit. Very few people here on Reddit are qualified to make that judgment in a professional setting, but none of us, including the professionals, are qualified to make that judgment from a 30-second TikTok video without context. I'm going to be downvoted for saying this, but almost always the comment has positive karma. What is your favorite song of the moment? Learn to hate you, James Michael. In this exact moment. My Spotify suggests that Kool-Aid by Bring Me the Horizon is my favorite top song. The Nedden Game by Ik or Money Gamed by Ren. Ventura Why by America, also a horse with no name. I don't know why, but I just do. Forever lasting, at least for the day. Stuck on the floor Honestove. I've been having Endlessly by Omar Apollo on repeat recently. Chris Brown, Angel's Ten Toes, Kites by Geographer, One Dance by Drake, Post Malone Circles, Because of You Nay Yo, Starcadian New Sidonia. It's Like Africa by Toto mixed with Daft Punk and Gorillaz vibes. See Nola Contesto Plan B, Life is Good by Is Not New or Anything. Just a really good song. Arcade Fire Tunnels, Manowar Call to because the bassist Joey DeMeo did a playthrough of the song and it was Fukim Kiskus. The World is a Ghetto George Benson. In your travels, which city was the biggest letdown? Dubai. It's like Vegas, with no soul. I never thought Vegas had a soul, then I visited Dubai. Myrtle Beach. It's basically Gatlinburg with sand. Niagara Falls, Ontario. Not the falls themselves. They're spectacular. The town is awful. Hollywood. Who hurt you, the city? Butte, Montana knew nothing about the place before passing through, but I was still disappointed. Dallas, Texas. I cannot believe how boring that city is. I've had much more fun in every other Texas city. I've visited Austin, San Antonio, even Fort Worth. I was born in Detroit. I traveled to Flint once. Trash can fires on the street corners, crackheads in frayed stocking caps begging change in the gutter, hookers going up and down the row of cars at the red light like the fucking charity guys. Can't think of a lot of reasons to go back. Wherever you go, there you are. I haven't traveled a lot, but Las Vegas would be get me wrong. It's known for what it is known for a reason. But the whole place smelled of piss and activities events we did while there were enjoyable, but not a place I could stay for more than a couple days at a time. Pueblo, Colorado. That place sucks. Los Angeles was not for me.